Yeah, I, have a really short thing that I would like to share with everybody tonight. And, for those of you who are watching, please, don't be afraid to write in the comments wherever you might be watching from, around the world. That way we can just say hi. And, we would love to, just see where people are watching from. But yeah, so the theme, I guess, title for, tonight, the big question, has God abandoned me? And I really feel like, with, in discussing this title, we discussed it, several weeks ago, if not a couple months ago. And then you kind of look and see all of the things that are happening right now in the world. And, I imagine many people are having a lot of questions right now. And I want to encourage you, the title of this, has God abandoned me? Or has God abandoned the world or these specific nations? Or, there's a lot of big questions I think people can be asking right now.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to give any complex uh, political type of answer. That's not the reason why we're here. But what I am is I'm gonna point you and I'm gonna share with you the truth uh, this evening or this morning, wherever you might be watching from in the world. And the truth is that God, He does not ever abandon us. He does not ever leave us. And you can see this actually throughout a lot of the narrative in the scriptures. And one scripture in particular, it's Hebrews chapter 13, verse 5. It's a very simple verse, but the writer, he says, I will never, and he's seeing, like God, he's repeating what God says in the Old Testament in another time. But basically, God is giving this command, and he says, I will never leave you, and I will never forsake you, or I will never abandon you.
Mhm.
And there's moments, and possibly many times in life, when whether it's silence, um, that can actually feel louder than the promises of God or the voice of God in our life. I mean, I can be honest, that has happened to me in my life. I'm sure Jeremy, Lucy, that's probably happened to you where it's like, okay, God, you have to make a big decision. You don't know what to do with your future. There's things that are attacking you. It's like, okay, God, I need your voice right now, like something strong, right now. And even when there's stress or maybe personal pain that might be happening in your own body or in your family or in your own life. Great example, also global chaos, the chaos that is happening globally around the world right now. Maybe make it personal in your own life, whether you might be going through like a desert season or a spiritually dry place. And sometimes it can feel like all of these things can collide at one moment. And then our initial response is, okay, God, have you withdrawn yourself from my life? As if he was with you one day, and then all of these external things are happening, and then all of a sudden he's not with you. And so what ends up happening is we forget. We forget, who God is, his nature. We forget what it says in the scriptures. And this happens to all of us. And so maybe you're watching right now. We have people watching from Sweden, Germany, other places. Maybe you're watching right now. Maybe you're looking around at your life, your family circumstances, your situation, and you're asking, where is God in all of this? And you know, maybe maybe you feel like your prayers have felt empty. It's just like striving or crying out for God, and you're just kind of like in this wandering place. I want to tell you, and I want to speak to your heart. I want to speak to your spirit right now that God has not abandoned you. And that's not, this verse. I think sometimes we read a lot of verses like, I'll never leave you, I'll never forsake you. And it's like, oh, like, well, that's sweet. It's a nice, like, comforting quote or something like that. When that's actually not at all what it is. And so this is the thing, the enemy, he would love to convince us that our emotions or our feelings are the truth, right? Like that's what the enemy wants to do. But this is the news, is that your feelings are not final. So what you might be feeling, the situation you might be in, that is not the final, like that's not where everything ends. And those are not the voice of God. So even when you feel nothing, no peace, no answers, no direction, no breakthrough, whatever it might be, this is what I want to tell you. God is present. God is there. God is with you. And there may be, this is I believe that this is even for somebody specific tonight, is that there might be facts So a fact is you go to the doctor, you go to your doctor's visit, and he says, you have this disease, you have this cancer. So that's a fact, right? Or, you can maybe look at the economy, economic situations. That's a fact, right? But this is the great thing is that facts are all subject to change, right? Like all of those things, those facts change. But this is the great news. Truth never changes.
Mm.
Truth never changes. And that's where I'm pointing, and that's where, Jeremy, he's going to talk about it. And I know Lucy's going to share a testimony, but this is what I want to say. Truth never changes. And who is truth? It is Jesus. The Bible is very clear that he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So the beauty in that is your feelings do not dictate truth. Jesus is still with you. His nearness to you, to your life, to your family, to the terrible situation you might be in right now, his nearness is not measured by your feelings, goosebumps, or anything like that. It is simply measured by the eternal covenant that was given to us by Jesus Christ. By Jesus Christ. So this verse, I will never leave you, I will never forsake you. It's not just a comforting quote. That's actually what I believe. It's actually a covenant declaration, because when God says something, he does not break his word. So God didn't say, I might be with you, I might never leave you, I might never forsake you. He says, I will never leave you, I will never forsake you. And so he also didn't say, I'm not going to, I'm only going to be with you when you're strong. I'm only going to be with you when you're faithful. I'm only going to be with you when you're full of joy. Like he doesn't say that. He just says, I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. So this is what I want to encourage you with is this is a word that you can stand on when systems of the world crumble, when everything else around you, the things of this world that are so fragile, that are unstable, this is the sure thing, is that God is stable. And when economies fail, when wars are going on, if there's divisions in family, when there's issues in your health or in your body and your body's deteriorating, or situations like that, when fear is knocking at your door, when you're having stress, anxiety, all those things, his word remains the same. He will not leave you and he will never forsake you. And this is the thing, and I'm going to give it to you, Lucy, in a second. Jesus, he knows what abandonment feels like, which is a wild thing to think about. I mean, think of when Jesus was on the cross, he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me? So this promise that even Jesus knew through his Father with the Father God, he knew that. God always talked about it. I'm never leaving you. I'm never forsaking you. And Jesus on the cross, he felt that abandonment, but that he did not do that as our example. He did that as our substitute,
Mm.
so that we never have to have that abandonment.
Mm.
So what we deserved, Jesus took that on. And that's the beauty of Jesus. The truth of Jesus is he took on that abandonment so that we never have to feel abandoned, forsaken, or alone. So this means that even when you might be surrounded by darkness, you might be surrounded by impossible situations, you're actually surrounded by God himself. And there's the famous verse, even though I walk through the valley of, I mean, you can hear it in movies, it's kind of all different things. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because you are with me, because your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And that's the promise, that's the nature, that's the character of our God. So I just want to encourage everybody watching, let faith reign in your heart tonight. Let truth reign in your heart tonight. Stay close to Jesus. His love, his faithfulness is unshakable. When the systems of the world shake, Jesus does not shake. God is never shocked. He's not confused. He's not like, oh no, what do I do? These things are happening. He's faithful, he's perfect, and he's the same. And everybody watching, throw away abandonment. Throw away, cast away abandonment. Look at Jesus. Look into the eyes of Jesus, because that's where your help comes from. It comes from the Lord. So the situation you're in right now, that is not the end of your story. Everything, everything that is happening, God, what the enemy is trying to do, if he's trying to steal, kill, or destroy, Jesus right now, he's turning all of those things for his glory and your good. And that's a sure thing. And I don't know why I'm feeling this right now, but I don't know. There might be somebody watching right now. There might be somebody watching later on. I almost felt like I heard somebody say, like, "I'll never be able to laugh again." I don't know what happened in your family. I just want to tell you, you will laugh again. You will have hope again, and you will have faith again because Jesus has never left. Be still. I'm going to just finish with this. Be still and know that He is God and He is here with you tonight, this morning, wherever you might be in the world right now. He is with you right now. And maybe, Lucy, maybe you want to share testimony about maybe what the Lord has done in your life
Yeah.
concerning all of this.
Yeah.